Hello, Lord Immolation. Yeah, I don't know exactly what you're responding to, but the message was self-contained, and as you said, focusing on a particular issue, and I can definitely see how that relates to the arguments I make in this area. So thanks for the reply. Okay, you basically say that models or ideas that are generated from science are not necessarily correct. So, for example, you're not bound to accept them, and I agree. Okay, I entirely agree. Moreover, I would say that they're always somewhat incorrect, these models. But the point is that no model that doesn't come from this kind of empirical basis, this loosely scientific kind of method, meaning it doesn't have to be lab science, but at least it has to be empirical, right? It has to be put up against your senses and thought about and tested against your experiences. No model that doesn't come from that process is going to be successful. We know that because you're saying that this is a model by definition that's coming without any sense experience or empiricism to support it. So of course we choose from these imperfect ideas the one that's best. It's not enough to say none of them is perfect, so therefore don't believe it. We know they're all imperfect. That alone is not a reason not to believe something. You have to know exactly what the imperfections are. Okay, if you know what the imperfections are, then you can gauge the results of that imperfection, the meaning, and you can change how you use that idea, and you can come up with a new idea that'll work in these circumstances. That particular idea will fail due to its flaws. Okay, but if you don't know those yet, you do not know the flaws yet, you just know that there's got to be something, then you're in an inquiry to study that phenomena and learn something you don't know about it. And specifically, you will learn the flaws in that theory, and you will respond to those and come up with a better theory. So I think that the empirical practices are definitely most coherent and careful in the physical sciences, and that we should therefore use those models because they're very well supported through that. And again, not perfectly supported, just better than everything else. Now, in your metaphysics and circularity, here I can just clarify. I don't believe in any of that metaphysics. To me, the technical metaphysics, like of Plato, and the mystical theistical metaphysics, they're related. The idea of metaphysics is that instead of looking for some truth empirically, we can just get a truth like the law of identity or the law of non-contradiction, just straight from self-necessary, self-causing ether. And so that's the metaphysics, the things you must assume to do science. But that's just all bullshit. You don't have to assume any of those things to do science. All you have to assume is that you're getting perceptions, and you have to information process those perceptions. Okay? If you do that, then things like the law of identity are things that, yeah, they too are empirically tested. If we lived in a dream world where every time you looked at a cup it changed color, and sometimes it was a bunny, and then, we wouldn't believe in the law of identity. We believe in the law of identity because if you take that cup and put it in the cupboard, lock the cupboard, when you come back, it will be more or less unchanged, that cup. We've tested the law of identity. It's an empirical thing. We don't think of it this way because nobody's going around testing that anymore. It's been well enough demonstrated. Okay, we just tell our children, if something appears and disappears, you're dreaming, instead of, saying, go test the law of identity. It's been tested enough, we just tell them. But reality, yeah, it needs to be tested, and it's just that it has been. Same with law of non-contradiction. We test how these ideas work. They work so well that for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years we've assumed them. But that will not make them metaphysical truths, a priori truths, true self-caused truths from themselves.